Correct. Maybe it's that's what I thought. Okay. C. Gregory C. Thank goodness, because I would have. STE.
Meeting 2024. And I'm glad our council, we're missing Chris Rogers tonight, but our council now, the last couple of years, we had new people every January, but now we have long-term council members, and that's great because they put up with me and seem to not be mad. Anyway, but as soon as Karen gets back, we'll get started with our recognizing the Veteran of the Month. I guess we could go ahead.
Eric's gonna go. Oh, maybe not. The Boy Scouts are there, or like Civic Night or something. I didn't see him on the agenda.
The guy named me. Talk to me. He is.
Which one? But the Boy Scouts here, they're here for Civic Night or something to earn their badge.
The Civic Night.
Oh, I don't know that. I'm just curious.
But these are Boy Scouts, they're not Cub Scouts.
They're too old to be Cub Scouts. I don't know. I'm not really sure.
What's the Scout troop?
So this is Troop 1755, we're the Ball Ground Methodist Church.
Okay. And we've been communicating, right?
Yes, my name is Todd Musgrave. I'm the scoutmaster.
Mhm.
We've been around since 2003. Frank Miller and Steve Ballou. We started.
Well, welcome to our meeting. Unfortunately, they'll have to put up with me, the end of February, is that right?
This is sitting in the community, so they're.
Well, that's very convenient. I live across the street
Yes, sir.
from where you have your meeting, so I'll walk.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start the meeting with recognizing Gregory C., our Veteran of the Month, and I'm asking Dennis Nelson here to actually provide the information and appreciation.
Mr. C, you don't have to stand. We're gonna stand for you in just a minute.
Yes, sir.
About how to think. All right, pictures up. Mr. Gregory C. is a resident of Mountain Brook North in Ball Ground. Air crewman, that was your title, correct?
Yes, sir.
Air crewman C joined the United States Navy on November 19th, 1977, and was stationed at Naval Air Station Brunswick, Maine. He served as an improved system acoustic operator. That's like radar, right? Sonar.
Yeah, listen to whales squeal underneath the water. Where did you get that picture, if I may ask?
That was actually on the internet.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Yes, I heard it was in the BRAC closures,
Wow.
but we Ball Ground's not that far away from Maine. You take care of that.
It's a couple hours of flying.
Couple hours.
Proceed, Mr. Nelson.
He left active service on April 16th, 1981. Following his active service commitment, he served in the Naval Reserves and discharged on November 14th, 1983. During his time in the Navy, Air Crewman C attended Aviation Fundamental School, AW Class A School, I don't know what that is, Readiness Acoustic Operator, and land-based T8C ASW Operator School. It's probably all secret stuff.
Sort of.
Sort of, okay. Mr. C, we certainly appreciate you being a veteran, number one, and being our Veteran of the Month for January. So I'm going to read a proclamation. You already know we have some adjustments to do on the proclamation,
Yeah.
and I will get you a copy.
Yes, sir.
Where would you like me, sir? Right here?
I'll read the proclamation.
Very well.
In 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed the first Veterans Day proclamation, calling on our nation to pay appropriate homage to the veterans of all its wars who have contributed so much to the preservation of this nation. And whereas our nation has fought and continues to fight battles around the world, the words of that first proclamation still ring true. Let us solemnly remember the sacrifices of all those who have fought so valiantly on the seas, in the air, and on foreign shores to preserve our heritage of freedom. And let us reconsecrate ourselves to the task of promoting an enduring peace so that their efforts shall not have been in vain. And whereas we remember with somber and grateful hearts those men and women who have served the United States of America with distinction and valor as soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, and offer our sincere prayers for those who continue to defend the principles on which our nation was founded. And whereas we are proud to recognize our country's veterans and extend the appreciation of our citizens to those who wear the uniform of the United States forces and serve on the front lines preserving freedom and liberty. Now therefore, the mayor
A.R. Roberts III, Mayor of the City of Albright, do hereby proclaim Gregory C. as Veteran of the Month for the month of January, and extend to him our sincere appreciation for his sacrifice and the contributions he has made to our great nation and community. In witness thereof, and adhering to set my hand and cause the seal of this duty to be affixed as day January 2024. We'll have the last signature.
Thank you, Mr.
Congratulations.
I want to thank you all for the kind response that you've shown. I do appreciate it.
Well, he read the proclamation with my name. Everybody here signs it. It's a proclamation from our whole council. Well, and let me just say that congratulations on giving you this award for being a veteran of the month. And thank you for your service. And thank you for being a citizen at Ballbridge. Because that's important too.
Very well. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Want to get some pictures? How about your family? Sure, we have a crowded room. This is really very different than. Come on up.
Yeah, when we built City Hall, we have like 3 people.
Hey, Karen, let's try to get the other city council members at least behind them on the day.
Okay.
If you can't get them, preferably down there, but if you can't, at least on the day, so we have everybody.
Okay. Okay. That'll work. All right, everybody look this way. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Very well. Thank you.
Get back.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna make a very good attempt to pull this off without messing it up. Gentlemen, please stand, remove your cover, and face the flag. On count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You could say if you want.
Again, Gregory, you'll see your name on the sign out here for the next month. Everybody passing by will. Okay, council members, you have a copy of the agenda. We don't need to make a change to it.
No, there will be an executive session tonight, but it's,
It's on here, yes. Okay. All right. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda? Okay. Second. All right. Motion. All in favor? Okay. We do have in the first meeting of the year, we have to approve things annually. So there are a good many approvals to do in January. So hopefully we can get through this pretty fast. At this time, we have an appearance. We have our auditor from James Bentz. He's from Malden and Jenkins. And Malden and Jenkins have been outstanding auditors for us for how long now? Maybe 12, 14 years. but,
maybe 08, somewhere in there.
okay. Well, we always get a very good report. Thank goodness. I hope we get one this year. So
Sir.
welcome.
Thank you. Well, good evening, Mayor and members of council. I believe you have before you two documents. One is the thinner, less intimidating document is our auditor's discussion and analysis, which is what I plan to go through. And then you should also have a copy of your annual comprehensive financial report that we can certainly address any questions you may have along the way. But just to kind of jump in, again, on page 2, my name is James Spence, and I'm a partner with Malden and Jenkins. I work in our governmental industry, and we have 16 partners, myself included, who do nothing but work with local governments. And in there, each year, we have 2 partners involved with every audit. So you have an engagement partner, and then we have a quality control partner who reviews the documents to ensure, in accordance with standards, that we have done all we needed to do and that we also maintain independence. We try to rotate that partner each year, and this year, Josh Carroll served that role for us. Holly Dugas has been the engagement manager who's worked with the city, I believe, now the past 3 or 4 years. And so that's kind of your key players on the audit team this year. As a brief refresher, Mullen & Jenkins is a regional firm. We are based, our headquarters is based in Atlanta, and we have offices in 6 different states. And we serve about 700 local governments throughout the Southeast, which is primarily our footprint. I say all that just as acknowledgement that the government industry is something we as a firm are very committed to, and it's not kind of a time filler for our firm. It's certainly something we spend heavy resources and dedicate heavy resources to. On page 3 is our 30,000-foot highlight. And so as your external auditors, it's our responsibility to audit the financial statements prepared by management. We do so in accordance with government auditing standards as well as generally accepted auditing standards, which require us as the auditors to issue an opinion as to whether or not the financial statements are materially correct as presented by management. And so under those auditing standards, we do not test 100% and we do not give absolute assurance on the financial statements. But we give an opinion in accordance with those standards that they were materially correct as presented by management, and we issued an unmodified opinion, which is the clean opinion, stating that there were no material misstatements with the financial statements as presented by management. One thing we always want to make sure to emphasize, again, we are your external auditors, and so all of the information in your financial statements is prepared or provided by management, and we audit that information. Because we do audit, because you are a government, we do audit in accordance with government auditing standards. We do issue what's called the Yellow Book opinion, where we would cite the results of our internal controls, and we would identify any material weaknesses that we identify in the audit process or any material non-compliance that we may come across in the audit process. And when I can, I'm always happy to report that we did not identify any material weaknesses or any non-compliance in the audit of the city's June 30, 2023 financials. On page 5, I do want to take a minute and say that we appreciate the management here of the city. Audits, if you've never been through them, are certainly an extra layer of tasks on top of your normal day-to-day. And so we do have our requests that we send ahead of time of management to prepare for the audit. And then obviously, as we get going, we're going to have questions and interruptions in the daily task of your management. And we had full cooperation. And so they were very willing and able to provide answers to the questions we have and to the requests we provided to them. So I do want to commend management on that. We did have a few non-material audit adjustments in this year's audit. They were included in the financial statements. They were proposed to management and included in the documents you have, as well as reflective in your general ledger. I'm going to skip over now to page 7, just for some financial highlights. And on page 7, we're going to take a look at the general fund for the year. And obviously, when you look and try to compare government to government, your general fund is typically the one fund that everyone's going to look at, because all governments do have a general fund. The additional funds that you have do vary from government to government, so sometimes it makes it tough to gauge those comparatively. So looking at your general fund this year, very typical of a government. You can see in the pie chart there, your largest revenue source was your property tax revenue. Overall revenues for the city did increase about $359,000 this year. Some of that being related to property tax revenue that we'll look at in another couple of slides. We also had an increase in your business tax as well as your license and permits revenues this year. On page 8 is kind of the breakdown of the tax categories. And so you'll see your different tax types here. And probably is no surprise to those here within the city. You look at your property taxes and you'll note that the kind of the third or let me say fourth bullet over there on the right, the overall millage rate has actually decreased over the past 4 years, but we've seen with increased growth and population, a good 71% increase in your overall assessed values of properties here. So while tax revenue is going up, it's not reflective in the direct millage rate being charged, but overall the growth of the city, which obviously is a positive thing. On page 9, to kind of look at your expenditures, I like to touch on this again just because of the type of operations here within the city. Your general fund expenditures look very similar to other local governments, with the one variable to kind of point out in there is public works. Your public works, because you do pay for a lot of that through your SPLOST fund, is a smaller slice than maybe you might see in another local government. But you'll see your general government services and your public safety, those are your big outlays for your general fund. On page 10 is kind of the how do we look snapshot for the last 6 years for the city. And so a lot of times when you try to evaluate the health of the city, you'll look at your fund balance as it compares to your annual outlays. And so you can kind of see the top line here are your annual expenditures for the general fund for the past several years and where your available fund balance compares to that. At the end of June 30, 2023, you do have about 93% of your fund balance is considered available and unassigned, so you can use in future use. And that represents close to 40% of your overall annual expenditures. The old traditional, which has not been updated in a while, but GFOA previously used to ask for about 3 months of reserves in your fund balance. I do think sitting at a little higher percentage rate makes sense nowadays with the cost of everything being a little higher than traditionally when they came out with that benchmark a decade ago. But again, you can see you're at the 40% of your fund balance, so you're sitting in a good position in the general fund. Before I get into page 11, I do, we've discussed this in the past, but I always want to make sure that everyone present does understand what's included in your financial statements. So before I talk about page 11, I do just want to acknowledge that the city, the financial report you have before you is a pretty hefty document. Most financial statements are, but the city actually goes above and beyond what's required by the state of Georgia as far as a basic set of financial statements. And so you all actually prepare what's called the annual comprehensive financial report, which has the main required financial statements that you're required to do under the official code of Georgia. But then you also kind of sandwich that, as if you will, with additional information that is the introductory section and statistical section, which is more reporting than you're required to do. And it gives good historical data, especially in your statistical section, about the city for the past 10 years. And so it's, doing an annual set of financial statements is one big ask. Going above and beyond the minimum, doing an ACFR is actually something to really be proud of. And it's certainly the minority of local governments within the state of Georgia, within the country, within the Southeast. But we've talked about this in the past. For a city your size, this is something to be proud of, that you're able to do this and put. I know it's not an easy thing to do. Jumping back into page 11, just to kind of highlight these, GASB is the accounting standard setting body that sets the pronouncements for local government accounting. They've been very busy over the past 10 years. Now we've kind of slowed down as they're working on some large projects. I just want to point out there are two new accounting standards that will be applicable for the city in the next 2 years. They are listed here, but just to let you know, as part of our relationship throughout the year, we do work with management and provide training and newsletters about upcoming standards or compliance requirements from a federal funding standpoint to keep them aware and abreast of the new accounting standards as they come out. So we'll make sure the city is aware of these and implementing them, but they're there for your information as well. The last thing that I'll touch on here is on page 13. For those of you who may not be currently receiving them, for all members of our clients, both governance as well as the management side, we do provide quarterly education classes. So again, as I just mentioned, we send out an email for registration, and if you're interested in signing up, they're typically accounting geared CPE sessions, but we do provide CPE credits, and it is free to all of our clients. And so if you're interested in obtaining any of those, participating in any of those classes, if you'll just let me know, I can get you on our mailer list and you can receive that opportunity as well. If you have any questions at this time, I'd be happy to answer them.
I have one.
Sure.
Have I never not had one? When you, on page 8, what is the other property under taxes? It's going down.
I believe, I'll have to go back and look at that number, but I believe that is the real estate transfers. But I can get you an answer for sure.
It is. I've already looked.
It is.
It's real estate transfer tax.
I just wanted to ask. Council members, you have anything you want to ask? Yes. Are we going to get that award again?
Their certificate? It's been applied for, and I would certainly think so.
Yeah, that certificate we've received for 15 years, maybe. We're the smallest city we used to be the smallest city in the state that received it. And we are a little bigger now, but we're still small.
Correct.
But again, Donna was very responsible for that. Thank you, Donna. Okay.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you wouldn't mind, Mr. Mayor, before we move on, would like to acknowledge Donna's in the back and Darlene Pendley. Darlene handles our accounts payable. And you know, the one thing sometimes people tend to forget is this isn't our money. And I tease Donna because she'll stand in my doorway and wring her hands and tell me that we have a huge bill and it'll be $22 more than normal. But she has that focus on watching every penny that comes in and out to make sure it does. And Darlene has picked that right up as well. And if you're missing a PO or a receipt and they hound all of us, you know, it's hard. The guys running by a part in the middle of a leak, they've got a job to do, but Darlene will be tracking them down for the receipt to back up that purchase order, or that expense. So just a huge thank you to both of them. They do a magnificent job.
And so now I see Darlene. Now I see you. So thank you for both of you do such a great job. I'm an ex-banker, so I've always been very concerned about how ball ground would look, but with Donna taking over things years ago, and Darlene joined us recently, you help us a lot, and we get very good ratings financial wise for a city our size. Okay. At this point, let's go ahead and turn to Eric for announcements.
We've got January 24th is our State of the County. I think some of you have already reserved through Karen for that. February 16th, we'll be observing Arbor Day. March 2nd is our planning retreat. And then April 6th is our first event of the year for Barbecue and Brews. Yeah, Monday's a holiday. Closed Monday.
Do we have those on our app?
Mhm.
All those?
Yes, sir.
If you don't,
The planning retreat's not, but
we do, we put in, as a lot of you know, we started a few months ago, we put in an app for the city, and you can look at the app and see businesses, you can see meetings, you can see events, and it's really good. I'm appreciate Eric finally doing that, because
It's great.
there are a lot of people like me that had rather look at an app than to actually go online and look on their website. So, but it's a very good one. So if you don't have it, you need to scan do a Q scan, and we have those outside there.
And it's free.
Yes. Okay, council, we need to approve the minutes from December 14th meeting. Any
Motion approved.
Okay, motion by Scott. Is there a second?
Second.
Vicky, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we can thank Karen for the minutes. So she does a good job, because she's only done it for 38 years. Okay, we'll move on now. We don't have any old business tonight, so we're going to move to new business. And the first item for council to approve is reappointing Dennis Nelson as our mayor pro tem.
Thank you.
So can I have a motion to reappoint Dennis?
Make a motion.
Okay,
Number 10.
Second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations. Now, when I miss, I feel good, because you do a good job.
You can travel.
I need to. All right, next item, every year we put together different committees made up of council members. And I am put forth recommended committees that you have a copy of. This would be our Finance, Insurance, and Personnel Committee. Annette to be chair, and Chris Rogers, who's not here now, and then Donna, one of our employees, to be on it. Parks and Rec, Scott Barnes to chair. Vicky and Annette will also be on it. We've got a lot of activity going on in Parks and Rec now, and these are three people that want to be involved. So we'll actually make this a public meeting. If you have more than two council members, you have to advertise it and you have to open it to public. So we're going to do that with our Parks and Recreation Committee if the council approves it. The third committee is Roads, Streets, and Sidewalks. That to be Vicky Benefield to chair, and Annette Holmiller to be on it. Chris Lully to be our employee. The fourth one, Water, Sewer, and Sanitation Committee. Dennis to chair it, and Scott to be on it, along with Eric as our staff member. And the last committee is Public Safety Committee, and I'm asking that Chris Rogers continue to chair it. She's not here now, but we'll still vote for her anyway. And Dennis to be on that committee, along with our police chief, Brian Reeves. So those are my recommendations. Are you agreeable to that?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the 2024 committee and board appointments.
Okay, motion made.
I'll second.
Second by Vicky. Any comments or questions? All in favor of these committees?
Aye.
Aye.
Nobody's opposed? I'm sure. But thank you again for your service. We have our council now. Members are very active, very informed on things that they work on. So I'm happy that you agreed to go along with what was recommended. The next item is we also have to have other appointments to do, and that is our judge put forth Judge Scott Poole. He's our judge. We're asked to approve him again. Can I have a motion to do so? Okay, second.
Second.
Any comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Nobody opposed. So Scott will continue. He's a good judge. Our court clerk, our municipal court clerk is Carla Weaver. And I'll ask that we approve her again this year. Have a motion to do so. Okay. Motion made. Second. Any comment, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Carla's done a good job too for a while. Our next item we're going to approve is our tree board. Our tree board is involved in a lot of Arbor Day things and also in choosing plantings. Ballroom is the first tree city in Cherokee County. And it goes back to 1989. And one of the things you have to do is you have to actually spend so much money per person on trees. So that's why we have the committee together to help choose types of trees and where to put them, but also to involve in the Arbor Day. But the current tree board like to maintain it. It's Karen Hawken, Jenny Byers, Dennis Holt, and Karen Jordan. Yeah, I thought I was. That's what I thought. I said I thought she was Hawking. It was not Hawking, but it was Hawking on my list here. Sorry. Can I have a motion to approve those individuals?
Make a motion to
Okay. A second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's good. We're again, these things we're voting on right now are things we have to do one time every year. So move on to the next item. It's consider reaffirming our check signers for banking, checking accounts, and also maintaining. We require 2 signatures on checks for any check over $500. So we'll maintain that. We talked about it at work session, and that's something the council was supportive of. So you want to go over the officials?
Sure. The check signers we're proposing would be to continue with Mayor Roberts, City Clerk Karen Jordan, City Planner Chris Luley, and myself, and with the stipulation that all checks over $500 and over require 2 signatures.
Okay, hearing that. Motion to approve. Okay, second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
The next item is, we have to do this every year under state law. We have to approve qualifying fees for running for council and for mayor. And even though this coming year, we don't have anybody up for reelection or next year, we still have to do it annually under state law. So Eric, you want to update us?
Very simple qualifying fee. If anyone wanted to run for the office of mayor, would be $108 to qualify. For the office of city council, it would be $35 to qualify for.
We maintain that. Those qualifying fees are based on any earnings that happen off the position. So at this time, that's not changing. So we should maintain this for a while longer, but still, we need to approve $35 for council, 108 for mayor. Okay. Second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next annual item we have to do is do the Arbor Day proclamation. We have, again, being a tree city, we have to celebrate Arbor Day, and we actually do plantings at that time. But we always pick the official Arbor Day of the state of Georgia, and so that's going to be February the 16th this year. So could I have a motion to approve Arbor Day on February the 16th? Second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And I hope we don't have like a 10-degree day like we've had before. But it's we also, part of Arbor Day, we actually give out, a lot of cities give it like little tiny trees, but we usually give out 20 or 30 bigger ones just as to put around the city to residents that come in first and ask for it, but we'll do that as well. Okay, the next item, consider appointment to the Cherokee County Development Authority. That's a terrible picture. Would you explain it to the council knows it, but I want the people here to know.
Yeah, the Cherokee County Development Authority has board appointments for each city. Most of the cities, it's the mayor's position. Several of the cities have the mayor has city manager serve instead. Mayor Roberts has always served for us at Ball Ground, so it's just a reaffirmation of him on that, so I don't have to go to those meetings.
Well, I'm going to actually see if I can get you to fill in for me if I stay on it. If the council will approve me remaining on that board. Okay.
I'll second.
I don't get to vote anyway, but motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. It's very good. It's a good place to mix in with all the cities, and there are actually some county reps on it too. So it's hope. Appreciate being put back on. All right, the next item is consider the first reading of the Metro District Model Stormwater Ordinance. Now, there's some changes having to take place now, and Eric, you want to summarize?
Yes. Basically, back in 2000, the state legislature created the North Georgia Metropolitan Atlanta Water Planning District to help Georgia in its tri-county water wars with Florida and Alabama. It's a very powerful group, only applies in the metro area. Our ability to operate water and sewer is tied to that entity. So they come out sometimes with really good rules, sometimes with a little bit outlandish rules, but to maintain our water license and whatnot, we have to follow those rules. This is a new model post-development stormwater ordinance. Kicks in, it's reduced the threshold on when stormwater planning has to be done. Any new impervious surface under 5,000 square feet, or excuse me, in excess of 5,000 square feet, has to have both stormwater runoff and water quality plans reviewed and done. Also requirements in there for linear road projects and sidewalk projects now. So at the point, when we get to the point to actually construct the new sidewalk between Roy Haynes Drive, basically, and Calvin Farmer Park, or Mountain Brook subdivision, that's going to create enough linear distance that we're going to have to create detention ponds and other things along the way for stormwater. So this is something that's not in effect 2 miles up the road across the Pickens County line. None of this matters, but it does for our license. And To maintain it, we need to adopt the new model ordinance.
Okay, council, you got a summary at our work session. Shall we just go ahead and vote on adopting that proposed?
This will be a first reading.
Yeah, any ordinance we approve has to be read twice. So this will be the first reading of this change. And so I have a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Second. Any comments or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the next item is consider amendment to stream buffer ordinance. Technically, subpart B, land development, section 1076. That's boring. But Eric, give us a summary on that for
Again,
attendance.
stream buffer ordinance is again a mandate of the Metro District. The standard state buffer is 50 feet. But if you're in the district, your buffer is 150 feet. So it resulted in the taking of a lot of people's property, but that's what the buffer is in the Metro District. What we're doing is cleaning this ordinance up from two angles. Number one, we can grant variances within our 150-foot buffer. The ability to do that right now rests with the Zoning Board of Appeals. Consulting with legal counsel, staff, we felt it was best to take this and bring it back to only mayor and council could grant a variance on this. Because again, it is your water and sewer license that is tied to enforcement of these ordinances. So instead of having a board that have it tied to those licenses for you to hear it. The other thing was to clean up exactly what the steps were and how somebody can file for an appeal, the timeline that they have to file for those appeals. And then the process basically takes it by new state law on how we handle it, notifying adjoining property owners, posting the property, those types of things before you hold the hearing. Did I miss anything, Chris?
Okay, again, this is an item we've spent time on talking about and learning about in our work sessions. So at this point, I'll ask for a motion to approve the amendment to the stream buffer ordinance. Proposed.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Dennis. Second by Annette. Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's the first reading. We'll do the second one next month. The next item to deal with is Division 108, Administrative and Enforcement of Section 1. This is part of part of this ordinance, many parts of it, but you want to update us on Division 108, Eric?
Yes, our reading and understanding of the new state law, variances get treated as zoning action, is our understanding. So what we're asking to do right now, a homeowner or a developer can come in and they can apply to the zoning administrator for a 5-foot variance on any of their setbacks. And so if they have a setback requirement of 25 feet in the rear yard, the administrator can grant them an administrative variance and drop it to 20 feet. It can only give 5 feet. But we don't think that that's any longer compliant with state law. It would need to be a zoning action, advertised, adjoining property owners notified. And so this action is to simply remove the administrative variance process from the ordinance. There will be no administrative variance.
And in the past, that was something you got to make decisions on.
Chris, more recently,
Chris,
yes. we could make that decision at 5 foot, but again, we don't think that is legal for us to do any longer under new state law.
Okay. Daryl, you've reviewed that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, could I have a motion to approve changing Division 108, excuse me, 109? Okay, is there a second? All in favor? Yeah, it's 108. 109 is next. We're dealing with 107, 108, and 109. 109 is zoning board of appeals.
Chris,
And you want to let Chris,
if you would, on
Update.
zoning board of appeals, powers and duties.
We had a recent case where a developer came to city staff and was ready to begin the process of developing, and it posed some questions of what is this piece of our code that says approved variances must be implemented within a period of 12 months. So we went back and forth, and the matter was settled in discussions amongst staff and our legal counsel. But we felt that this brief 2-sentence bit of code stating implemented within a period of 12 months required a little bit more elaboration. So what we've gone back and done is further fleshed out what implementation is. Implementation be something such as pulling the building permit, pulling the land development permit, things like that. That same case also posed some questions on phasing of projects. So the first phase was implemented, and then you have a later phase come along. How does that all play into this? So we went in there and kind of elaborated more on what is phasing and what does phasing take. So they would have to provide a phasing plan up front. They couldn't just come in later down the road and say, oh, well, this was all part of the phase thing. They would have to provide certain requirements to us. So just tightening up the code like the rest of these proposed changes.
so these are, we're clarifying the powers and duties of the zoning board of appeals.
Correct.
Okay. Again, we covered this at our work session. Can I have a motion to approve this as the first reading of section 109?
I'll make a motion to.
Okay, second?
Second.
Yeah. Any further comments from council? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I don't hear anybody opposed. I heard all ayes, so, again, that's, as an ordinance, we actually have to do it again next meeting, which will be in February. The next item under new business is consider Metro District Model Building Code changes. Eric, I know you're showing a picture of it. Why don't you go over it?
The, again, a mandate, an unfunded mandate from the Metro District. This is an update to the Georgia Minimum Building Code. The district did ask the state to adopt this. The state declined. So they are mandating that we adopt it in the district. And what this does, it makes any new construction or any replacements in your home, mode's going to have to be even more low flow, the shower head even more low flow, the kitchen faucet even more low flow than what other areas have. But Ball Ground's not allowed to just change it because the district said to. So what the district has laid on every government inside the metro region is for us to send their new code to the Georgia Department of Community Affairs, who regulates building in Georgia, and ask them to please allow Ball Ground to start enforcing this at the local level. Department of Community Affairs can say yes, they could say no, or they can ignore us. If they ignore us, it becomes, we can adopt the ordinance after 60 days. If they say no, then the fight's going to go back to between them and the Metro District, but we have met the requirements of maintaining our water and sewer license. So It does. We are obligated to remain compliant with the district. They have not known of a case where they come in and take your license. It's when we go back for our renewal, which comes up again in 2 years, we'll be back before EPD and the Metro District saying, we want to update our withdrawal permit from the well. We want to update our license to operate a public utility. And the first question is, are you compliant with the Metro District? If you're not, you better get compliant before you get your license. The action tonight is simply an authorization to sign a resolution from the elected body to transmit these changes to the Department of Community Affairs. We cannot adopt it until they either ignore us for 60 days or say yes.
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned about, like I'm assuming a homeowner updating their toilet.
Mhm.
How is that even possibly monitored?
That wouldn't be.
Okay.
Now, if they were doing a bathroom remodel, so a plumber comes in and he's going to remodel the whole bathroom, or a contractor, and they get a building permit, then it's going to be inspected to that new code. But for a homeowner themselves to go to Home Depot and buy whatever's off the shelf and say change their commode, we'll never know that and shouldn't know that.
Thank you.
Our concern that we have addressed, and it's what I expressed to the Cherokee delegation about trying to look into more of these standards. Low flow is great for water conservation, but we have gone so low flow in ball ground that it's creating us problems on the sewer side. Number one, you need water to carry your solids. And you also run into problems with hydrogen sulfide as everything becomes that much stronger and starts eating the concrete in your manholes and everything else. So water conservation is great, but we need water to work on that end as well. So.
Like the whole metro area, we're required to do this. It's not required to 2 miles
up the road,
of us, but this all kind of started, I'll make a comment. Cherokee, we don't get our water from the Chattahoochee, the Lake Lanier, like 80% of Atlanta does. And so during droughts, that lake got so low. That's why they put this together and started restricting. But again, we get water out. A lot of our water comes out of a well. And Cherokee County Water and Sewer Authority, they have a lake connected to Etowah River. So we're really not part of the shortage of water that has been taking place in the rest of the metro area, but we're still having to pretend we are. But it's again, that's something we just have to do because of our location. But at this point, motion to approve building code. Second. All in favor?
Hi.
Okay. We'll again act on the rest of it, act on it again in February.
No, sir. Not
Not this
unless
one.
we get a yes. We will act on this again after we
We're just
get a
doing,
yes.
we're just doing a
Transmit.
transmittal, yeah. Well, maybe we won't have to act on it. The next item is something we do every year is we adopt our zoning map. It's updated. It changes over the years. So you want to say anything about it, or Chris, you want to say something about it?
Yes, sir. As mentioned, this is a yearly exercise. It's mostly a formality. We have a GIS system online that we continually update with a number of things, zoning included. So we're always looking at this, but once a year we adopt it. The only change when you all last looked at this in a formal capacity, back in the spring, we adopted this same map. Since then, one single parcel was de-annexed by a vote of you all. So where Mr. Wilmot is highlighting, that is now gone. again, this is mostly the same you've all seen before.
Okay, any, well, I guess I should say, we vote to approve it first and any comment, have any comments after we have a motion and a second?
I made the motion to accept the changes.
Second. Vicky's got a second.
Scott made the motion. Scott actually serves on our zoning board. We're part of the county zoning board, so he's very knowledgeable. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's officially our new zoning map for 2024. And the last item under new business is consider an amendment to change some fees. We do that every year. You want to update us on the fee changes? I know you're showing, this is new, having it behind here, so I don't see it, but I should look right here and see it. So I apologize. But you want to highlight it?
The biggest change on here is you'll see we now have the fee, but then it says plus cost of engineer review. We have third-party engineers now on a number of things. And so whatever fee they charge us for reviewing a development, we will pass that fee on to the developer. So it just takes it from a fee to a fee plus cost of engineer services.
Application fee?
The application fee the application fee, like on less than 10 acres, would be $100 plus cost of engineering fee.
Vending machine.
Oh, on the vending machine? I think we had adopted
We've
that.
adopted that, so it's not being changed by this. Okay. All right. Motion to approve
I'll make a
the fees. Okay. Okay. Vicky, second on that. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And we do have to pay people to analyze things, and this will just get that money back, which I'm glad we're doing. Okay, that's all the new business, even though other than the ordinance changes, most of it's just we do one time a year. But go ahead at this time, Eric, you want to give us an update?
We'll start with Chief and the police report.
Evening, Chief. Yeah, how y'all doing? All right, so our reports we have, see for December, had our monthly report for traffic citations at 15. And then we have a little additional reports this month, got the end of year reports. So we ended out the year with 451 citations total, and it's got the different ones broken down of what all the different citations were. And then our calls for service as far as the daily activity for the officers for the month of December were 312. And they're broken down in the different activities that, excuse me, went on through the day. I'm battling a cough this evening, so bear with me. And then also we have the yearly totals as well for the same activities. It's 4,754 for the total of the year. And then we go to this is the actual dispatch calls that came from the CAD system from Cherokee 911 for the month of December. They were 162. And then for the year, the dispatch calls for service through the CAD were 2,353. So that number is factored in also with the calls for service that we generate ourselves as far as the daily activity logs for the officers. That's mingled in with that. So the extra activities are like traffic stops, extra patrols that we do. And that's the majority of our activities that are the 4,754 are when people go on vacation, they ask us to check their house. We'll log that on our activity log. And then if we go through a neighborhood that's under construction or a neighborhood that's finished, we go through and we log that on our logs every time we go through there, or try to if time permits and there's not something that happens and we got to take off or something. But we do that all through the, like I said, through the CAD system, and then also through our computer system in the cars that we do. Hopefully we're getting back up to staff levels that we were need and that were allotted. We have an officer that's supposed to start on the 17th, I believe, be next Wednesday. He will be starting. He's finished all of his conditions as far as the offer. He's done his polygraph, his psychological, his medical. Now he's just ready to come on board and get started and get trained, and that way we can get him out here on patrol. This is the 6th. Yes. Hopefully the one that we say that says second up there will be the 7th, hopefully by March. We have some.
Already certified?
Yes.
Okay.
Already certified, so there's no mandate training. There's just, we got to take them, get them to shoot and qualify, and then they'll be ready to go through the field training process. I'm sorry? 7 officers will be what we're allotted, yes. Yes. So that'll help. This last month, we were spread really thin with Officer Witherington was out with the new baby, and Officer Gonzalez, he's still on light duty. So that left myself, Sergeant Young, and Officer Cohen for the last part of November and all of December. So that's answering calls and doing everything else that we have to do. It kind of spread us a little thin, but hopefully we'll get a little breathing room. Officer Witherington's back, and then we'll get the new officer. He'll be riding with him through the FTO part, or the field training part. And it seems like it was forever ago, but we did have the Christmas parade in December the 1st, I believe it was. Very good attended event. I think the weather kept a few people away, but we still had a large turnout and no incidents to report. I keep knocking on the wood every chance I get every year. And we have a good event every year, a good safe event. And then some other things we had this year, we had the tree lighting as well as the menorah lighting up at the 4-way stop this year. So looking forward to a good year, for a growing year. We got a lot of things going on. Our state certification process is still moving along. Officer Gonzalez, he's been our evidence custodian since he's been on light duty, but he's done such a good job. He will be the permanent evidence custodian. So, but he actually met with some people today from Holly Springs, actually, that are showing him ways to do the destruct order to get rid of old stuff that we have that, it has to go through a process, has to go through a judge and get a signing on that and everything. So he's working with them, giving him direction on how to go and how to do it. So that's one step forward in that process, trying to get that stuff purged out and get going with this state certification stuff. So, all right. Any questions from anyone? All right.
Thanks for your update.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Fund balance, we closed out the year, total fund balance of 3.44 million. As Mr. Bent said, we've got about 40% in the general fund. Our fund balance goes up, but our coverage doesn't necessarily, because expenses go up so much as well. So to maintain that coverage, we need to be saving even more dollars as we can, just so we can cover the dead spots. December revenues and expenditures. Total revenues for the month of December were $546,000 against expenses of $600,000. Year to date, our revenue is $3.181 million against expenses of $2.635 million. Administration, working on all our end of year reporting for the Department of Community Affairs and Department of Audits. Budgeting activities, alcohol licensing, all those expire at the end of the year, so we're working those with the businesses. Calendar of events, we're just missing the date on one event, which is Touch a Truck. Just waiting for that date to be set. We coordinate that and marry that up with Georgia Cities Week. And submittal, we submitted our application of interest to be a Georgia Main Street. So we'll hear back from them once they review that application. They have to invite you to join, but we've submitted that. Again, our app, we're growing, but it's slowed, so we need to have another push on that. We have 467 unique users this time, but as you can see, there's a lot of engagement on the app, over almost 36,000 engagements. So that's a lot of activity going back and forth and people using the app. Even though the number is low, the people that have it seem to be using it a lot. Capital projects. There'll be a meeting tomorrow afternoon with the property owner on the northwest corner of Howell Bridge and their legal counsel, GDOT and their legal counsel, in Cherokee County and their legal counsel. And hopefully by the end of the day tomorrow, we will have a path forward on exactly who maintains what. There's two small retaining walls that are going to be needed on that project. One is going to be on that corner where the ALO Medical Office is being built. One is going to be directly across Howell Bridge. So GDOT doesn't like to maintain retaining walls. So that's kind of our hang up right now. We resolved the retaining wall issue and the rest of this project should move pretty well. Spoke with Brantley Day at Cherokee County this afternoon and he feels real confident they'll come out of that meeting tomorrow with a path forward. Road projects, finished up on Mound Street with the deep patch. We're in budget prep now, but we're going to try and include curb and gutter for the west side of that road in the next budget year. Next street up for paving will be Groover Street. It's on the west side of Ball Ground Highway. No real change on the downtown crosswalks, just they're waiting on one signature from GDOT to turn that loose so that our installer can pick them up and put them in. But those will be the new crosswalks that go downstairs or downstairs downtown. And they're the new MUTCD compliant. The old ones we have were compliant when we put them up, but they've changed the standard. But they have given us a grant to change them. ADA transition plan. Ball Ground is not required to have an ADA transition plan due to our size. However, it helps us as we move forward with eligibility for federal grant dollars and whatnot to achieve compliance with these things, or at least have a plan and show that you're working towards compliance. So we have a plan that we believe is compliant. We submitted it. We also asked for an extension so we could get the plan fine-tuned even better, but then accepted the acknowledgement that we're not required to have it either. So we got a response back from Federal Highway, and they've given us until February 26th to submit our final plan. And for those of you that drove around through the city at all today, we did the ADA updates on Cartersville Street. That all got poured today. Also Valley Street and Howell Bridge Extension. We poured 5 new aprons there to make them all ADA compliant. And as you recall, we've done several others around Old Canton Road, Mound Street, different areas. So we're working towards compliance. Nothing says we have to get it all done. We have to work towards it. The other thing you'll be seeing is all new restroom signs on all public restrooms with the city, because to be ADA compliant, they all have to have the Braille lettering on them as well. So they just came in the other day, so we'll be getting those installed. Mountain Brook Sidewalk Extension, again, right-of-way acquisition. Appraisals have been requested because we know now exactly where those are. So hopefully within the next 45 to 60 days, we will have the appraisals done and then can get to work on actually collecting them. Public Works, again, they do what they do, but did want to mention, and David brought this up and we discussed it in emails the other day, but again, he wanted to express from his team gratitude for the equipment, the tools. The picture there on the side of the road, that's the morning it froze and we had the accident out there on the highway. But that vac trailer makes all the difference in the world. It's a game changer for what the guys are doing out there.
But they're wearing garbage bags.
As we could, because it's cold.
The water was higher than the waterproof boots. If they go over the top, it's
It
not
hurt your leg.
waterproof anymore. So,
David's leg.
but as always, they do a great job. On our purchase water, one of the great things since the well production has been upgraded, we were purchasing about 210,000 gallons of water a day. We're rocking right now, we're down to buying about 140,000 gallons a day and producing the rest of that here. We're going to keep monitoring the health of the well, the clarity of the water, the things like that. Just make sure we don't overdo something. We'll keep taking that down probably to where we end up at a purchase point of 85,000 gallons a day. Level. On the water purchase point, finally some headway on that. This is what's highlighted in yellow is the piece of property that we're now working to acquire. And there's development interest there right now as well. So that's been turned over to the person who owns the land we need to cross. They're going ahead and buying the property. So they're working to buy the property, then they'll deed it to the city. And we can get our water line through there. We're also going to be working in the near future for a expansion of our well house to go ahead and put a chemical room on the side of it so we can start to separate the chemicals from the production area and try and get those caustic materials away from the electrical side of the business. You also see activity here in the coming days at the Howell Bridge lift station. That's a pretty picture when it was nice out, but all sewage lift stations are in low areas because that's where it flows to. And we need to pull a pump there right now. And actually, after the rain and everything else, we couldn't even get a vehicle in there to pull a pump. So they're going to be coming out, taking that fencing down, open it up. They build a temporary gravel road in. We're going to be concreting that entire area and doing a concrete drive apron all the way up to Ball Ground Highway and just making an area when we have an emergency. It doesn't matter if it's raining and it's muddy. We need to be able to get heavy units in there and pull pumps. On our solid waste, the RFP, like we said, is public. We have interest from 6 providers that have obtained applications. Whether they all submit or not, we don't know. We will open the RFPs at 12:30 p.m. on January 17th, and then they will go to a committee for evaluation and selection of new solid waste provider. Recreation and parks. We spent a lot of money at Calvin Farmer Park on the playground, and you can't tell a lot of it because it's not something new. But if you look at that right there, that was after 3.95 inches of rain. So all that drainage system, all the new drainage and under the ground stuff worked, and people were able to use the facility right after the rain's over. And that was the objective, is to get it where it could be used. If you remember, this was holding water and was nasty. So it's fixed. and that's rubber mulch. So great there too. Pocket Park project, shade poles are installed. Talked to them Monday, and they were actually sewing the sails, the metal cables into the sails. So we anticipate they should ship to us Monday. Parks Master Plan. For those in the audience that may not have seen that, sign up for the app. You can get it there. You can see Chris before you leave tonight, and he can give you direction. But this has been a wonderful response. We're up, Chris, to 182. 185 respondents so far, and about 2/3 of them actually city residents, which is really great, giving us feedback on the plan and additional items they would like to see considered in a Parks Master Plan. Field 1 concession has been painted. Field 2 concession's been painted. New scoreboard for Field 2 should be supposed to be in any day now. And rec desk is open for bookings for 2024. Community development, they've been working on the zoning map updates, the parks plan and survey, impact fees, and working also on an updated parking code. Building, we closed the year issuing 115 permits as opposed to 94 from the previous year. On the active development report, we have 356 approved units. Of those, 115 have been permitted. Commercial development, they brought the brick pallets in. I think Chris approved those yesterday or the day before. So they'll be getting the work starting to brick up there at the new convenience store. Beverage store and dry cleaner restaurant is moving along. For those that weren't here last month, the restaurant going in down at Howell Bridge is going to be Beef O'Brady's. Potential development, still the two items that we've had up for months, the 100 acres just north of the Mountain Brook community that's under contract by Pulte Homes, and then the Ball Ground Highway piece that's already zoned TND. No, it's under contract, but there's been no real action. Infrastructure acceptance, Mountain Brook Phase 3. After the rain, they're going to have to wait a little while, but the contractor has been put on notice from the developer there to go in and clear the ponds and be doing the bush hogging and the clearing of the dams. Linwood Development, they owe us a crosswalk and an ADA pad, and then that'll be ready to accept. 372 South, Smith Douglas, as I understand it, has obtained 4 of the 8 easements that they need so that our water line will be on dedicated easement to the city before we can accept that. And that concludes my report. If there's any questions.
Questions, guys?
How big will the chemical storage thing room be?
Pretty much match the size of what's there
So it'll be like
now.
double the size.
Anything else? Well, you said talking about the water, the well. How much are we taking out now?
I think we were at what average came out to 178,000 gallons a day this last reporting period, right around that. We're permitted for 250,000 gallons. If the well continues to perform the way it is, we will apply to EPD to increase our withdrawal.
Our water coming out of our well costs less than buying it from the water authority, right?
Because it's almost 100 years old. Yes, sir.
Okay,
It's paid for.
thank you, Eric. I wanted to turn this on again. I wanted to mention that I received something from Georgia Municipal Association that we're going to receive an award at the, we're having the Cities United Summit at the end of January. And we're going to be one of the cities receiving this this award for becoming a city of civility. And that's something our council worked on. It's to make our city better for people that live here. And so they're going to have an award on Sunday at down at the conference. And so I'm going to be there, but I don't know if anybody else would like to attend that award. But nevertheless, we will have that when we receive it. We'll have it placed here in City Hall. But they're not just a few cities have done this, but I'm glad we're in the group that does, because it shows us to be very interested in how people that live here feel about us. And it's so anyway, but Scott is planning to come out. Any of you guys want to attend, just let me know.
Okay.
But that summit is something that two times a year, the Georgia Municipal Association has these big gatherings of cities across the state. One's in Savannah in the summer and in Atlanta in the winter, but we also use that for training. And so we take courses. Our council here, I'm real proud how much training we do, because you have to stay updated on laws change and as other things change. But we have active participation in those. So there'll be some people there this coming 2 weeks from now, learning more from the courses. But anyway, but I want to just let everybody know that we're going to receive this award, which I'm very proud of. Do you have anything you want to add, Annette?
I'm excited about the civility, but I'd like us to also work towards the. Well, in the classes, that there's sometimes misunderstanding about diversity, and it's really about getting everybody to feel like they belong and get all the different perspectives on everything.
Okay. Dennis, anything you want to bring up?
Thank you, Scout Group, for coming out.
Yeah.
I know this had to be terribly boring to you. But you get to see how government works, and particularly your local government, and we appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Vicky?
Yes, I hope everyone is off to a happy new year. We really do have, the council has some. Everything with the public works. Water. Stops here first air too. It's one of the first.
Scott?
I also wanted to thank Donna and the team for work and what you put onto that. So, thank you for keeping up. To the scouts, I was in that seat when I was a kid.
all our emails are online if you want to ask any questions.
At this time, let me go ahead and ask, anybody want to address the council on any issues? No scouts? Want to address us on? Well, you have to put with me in another month, so I'm coming to visit your meeting. So, but at this time, then we will move to, we need to executive session.
Need to adjourn to executive session. Motion to go into executive session for personnel.
Motion by Vicky,
Second.
Annette, all in favor?
Hi.
Okay. When we do executive session, that means we close the meeting, it just remains us together. Then after we finish, we reopen the meeting and adjourn the full meeting. But at this point, we can't adjourn the full meeting yet until after the executive session. So I'll just say thank you for attending. If you want to stand outside in the cold,
And well, we
come
can
back
go to,
in.
we can go to the conference room.
We can do that too.
Like it might be more secure.
Okay.
So you can stay if you want.
But there won't be any activity after the
Not bad.